You're listening to the What Women Want Today podcast. If you love the idea of being part of a community of women who are looking to thrive, not just survive, you're in the right place. Join hosts Terri Kellums and Amanda Keeper each week as they bring you topics and guests to help you improve your relationships, your health, and your emotional and spiritual well-being.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of the What Women Want Today podcast. I'm Terri Kellums, your host. Today is day 5 of the series of the 12 Days of Christmas, and today we're going to talk about vision boards. So before we get started, I already have been out for my morning walk. I have the hat on. It was 31 degrees out, and I bundled up. This is my warmest sweater, had my hat, my gloves, my wool jacket. And so by the time I finished my 30-minute walk, my body was sweating and my face was just freezing. But I was out and I watched the sun come up. I timed my walk this morning so that I would, be outdoors when the sun came up. I'm trying to set that circadian rhythm. We're talking about setting intentions here with this 12 series, right? We're talking about developing our goals and what we want the new year to look like. And I mentioned very briefly yesterday that I am in the process of developing a new income stream. So, some people will call it a side hustle, whatever term you use for it. And this new venture that I'm starting is going to require me to get out of my comfort zone a lot. I did not want to get up and go for a walk this morning. I did not want to get up and curl my hair this morning. I have gotten into such a habit of, I'm just going to say it like this, like not showing up for my own life in some aspects. Like I love to stay in my pajamas almost the entire day unless I go to the gym, or sometimes I'll even come back from the gym and shower and get back in my comfy clothes. And when I thought about doing this venture and I was talking to my mentor, I said to her, I don't know if I can get back into this habit. When you show up to a 9-to-5 job every day, you get dressed, you put on your makeup, you present yourself to the public. And I have increasingly gotten to the point where I don't want to do that. And I don't go on social media as much as I know I should to promote this podcast. I just flat out just do not have the desire to. And so when this new venture I found out would require that I show up every day, not just for myself, but to show up to do it, I knew I was going to start changing some of my thought patterns and some of my habits. And so, I had gotten into a habit of, after my husband left to go to work, we get up and we have coffee together every morning. And then I make him breakfast and he goes off to work and I start my day. Sometimes my little Charlie, my little 5-pound Maltese-poo, or Maltese-she, I guess he is, he wants me to come and sit back down on the couch with him. It's so funny because he'll paw at my leg and then I'll look down like, do you want me to pick you up? Like, do you want a pet? What do you need? And he starts to go over to the couch and he's telling me, come sit your butt down. I want to cuddle, And so there are days when I'll sit there and I'm not as productive as I want to be. And I don't feel good about that. And so when I committed to myself and to you all to show up every day for the 12 days of Christmas, I really didn't even know at the time that it would help prepare me for, for my little side hustle. Well, I'm not going to call it little, but I'll say my side hustle, my venture, my additional stream of income. We'll say that. I didn't know that it would help prepare me for that, but here we are. And so I have this crazy busy day today, and I didn't want to take off. I didn't want to take myself off the list, so I wanted to get out and get my walk done early. I wanted to come in here and I wanted to make sure I kept my commitment to you to show up every day for the 12 Days of Christmas series. And so here I am. I got my hat on. I'm not. This series, you'll probably notice, has a little bit different feel because I'm not like ultra organized about everything, and it's just sort of more off the cuff. It's just, a little bit more whatever I feel like talking about. But today I am going to talk to you a little bit about vision boards. And if you were somebody that watched The Secret back in the day when it came out, when was that? Was that like 2006 or 7? Somewhere around in there, right? Was when The Secret first came out. And I jumped all in with the idea of the law of attraction, and I created the vision board. And it was funny, a couple years, how many years later was it? So that was, if it started in 2006, I would say 2014, 2015, one of my twin daughters said, Mom, this house, because Brian and I built our dream house, this house was on your vision board. And I hadn't seen that vision board or touched that vision board or thought about that vision board in many years. And I struggled for a minute to like go back and try to remember the house that was on my vision board. And, it was a white stucco house with a concrete tile roof, like you see in a lot of Southwest homes. And it had a beautiful pool in the backyard, just, so they were very similar. And I hadn't really gotten back into the habit of doing a vision board until probably, if you've been following the podcast from the beginning, I had Julia on the podcast, and she talks a lot about manifestation. And I believe, if I'm remembering the episode correctly, like she puts a lot of things in her phone. And I did start a visual one. It's sitting in the corner of my office over there. I never finished it. I guess I've gotten more away from doing things like that and doing it like on Pinterest. So I do have a private vision board on Pinterest. And it's more about things that represent how I want to feel or what I want my life to look like. And there are some like, like visual representations of the kind of lifestyle I want. So the traveling, the friends, the eating delicious food. And I'm trying to think what's on there. I haven't been on there for a while. And having a beautifully decorated home, those types of things. But if you're not that kind of person, and if you don't think you're going to stick to it, I'm just going to tell you, I have another method I think might work for you. And so I'm not going to pretend to be a manifestation expert. I'm not a manifestation expert. But what I'm really good at, and I have done for as long as I can remember, is daydream. And I've used this technique with clients. And we do need to visualize. We need to visualize these goals. So I don't know where you're at. We're on day 5. I don't know if you've started to compile anything in your mind yet of like what you are envisioning for 2024 and what those goals are going to look like. But I really think that daydreaming, or some people might call them mind movies, I really think it will be a very great tool for you to wrap your brain around what that really looks like creating that vision in your head, that mind movie. So did you daydream when you were a kid? Because when I was a kid, I was a very vivid daydreamer. And do you remember Dr. Dawn from the podcast? I interviewed her, and then I was on her International Women's Day, which I believe is in January. I was on her show, and she did teach me a while back this exercise of imagining your perfect day. So at that point, I was imagining our home that we're in the process of building. I was imagining that built, and I was imagining myself sitting in my office as I had put pictures on my Pinterest vision board of what that might look like, how it might be decorated. And I would walk out of that beautifully decorated office, having just finished a client call with a coaching client, and walking out of my office. And as I'm walking out, like I am literally walking through an unbuilt house, but in my mind, it's fully decorated and fully realized, and walking out to my backyard with, the flowers that I've envisioned that I will plant. And, we will be able to see like the mountain from our back patio. So there'll be a beautiful mountain range. And I have pictured myself sitting there many, many times at the end of the evening with a fire in the fireplace and enjoying a glass of wine with my husband, or going out there taking a break in my work day and sitting on the porch swing or in the rocking chair and just gazing out at the beautiful scenery that I will see when I walk out on my patio. And so when you're thinking about this goal, if you can attach a mind movie, a daydream, and evoke as much detail and smell and the sights that you're going to see and the emotions that you're going to feel when you've reached that goal and that goal is realized, this is going to be a great tool for you to realize your dreams, your goals. And oh, I was thinking this morning about our conversation today, and I remember a long time ago, I heard this quote from this guy, and I wish I could tell you who he is to give him credit, but he said that goals are dreams with a deadline. And I thought, oh, dreams. And I want to talk about daydreaming. I want to tell them about my daydreaming. And so goals are dreams with a deadline. So let's create in our mind as you're going through this, and you might not be able to do it until we get to the end, unless you've already got it all figured out. I don't have all mine figured out. I'm still working on it as I go through it with you. I'm going through this every day, and I have gotten as much growth out of doing this podcast as I hope some of you have gotten from listening to this podcast. So, jot your notes down from today's episode. What goal do you have in mind that you can create a mind movie about? And maybe it's a couple of your goals all wrapped in one. I have one more thought about creating this vision. So when you have a routine, and I'll use my husband for an example. I've been picking on him a lot in these 12 days, but I'll use my husband for an example. When you are trying to, let's say you're trying to eat healthier and cut back on the sweets like my husband, his pattern, his habit is we finish dinner, and then I don't like to go sit down right after dinner. I like to move around a little bit and try to help my food digest a little bit. Like my ultimate pattern or habit for me would be to start going for a walk after dinner. But it's so dark, and I live out in the country, so there's no really like lighted path for me to walk on. So I'm working on that. There is an opportunity for us on our new property to create a walking path that would go on the perimeter of our entire 8 acres. And my husband said that will be about a half a mile. So I walk a mile in about 17 to 18 minutes. So it would be perfect if I could do that path twice. And the other day when I was imagining that walking path, I like to sit and think about, like, what little moments could I create as I'm walking along on that path? Like, picture like an old bench, that's been weathered over the years, and you're walking along this path, and there's a bench sitting there. Or what if you had like a wheelbarrow, an older wheelbarrow that was kind of tipped on its side with, wildflowers growing around it. So I've been thinking about creating these moments along my walking path. And I should maybe I'll do a story on Instagram this weekend and walk some of that path for you, so you can kind of envision that along with me. But I've been thinking about these moments, and I've also been thinking about how we could put some solar generated lights along that path. And I don't know if you can picture this. Like I said, I am a very vivid imagination. So I'm picturing these lights to light up these moments, to light up our way. And I think I got off track here. But anyway, I'm just going to say my vision would be to walk after dinner. But currently, I just keep moving around so that I can, they say you shouldn't sit down right after you eat. So that's where I'm going with all that. But my husband will go and sit on the couch. And I have this whole evening routine where I take off my makeup, brush my teeth, and stretch, and, and I play with my dog a little bit, and I do all these things. Meanwhile, he has gotten his sweet treat for the evening and has headed over to the couch to sit down and eat it. Now, if you're in the same boat as my husband and you've gotten into this pattern of, you know, when I do this, it means I do this. So when I sit down on the couch to watch TV, I grab a sweet treat. I'm going to suggest that you have a pattern disruption. So it's going to look different. It's going to mean that you don't get up from the dinner table and go sit on the couch. It's going to mean you go outside if you're if you're a dude, and you're probably not because you wouldn't be listening to this if you were a dude. so, so I'll try to think of something real quick off the top of my head. This whole podcast today is just very off the top of my head, so I hope you don't mind the informality of today's podcast. But if you're trying to disrupt that pattern of going and sitting on the couch and eating a sweet treat, maybe instead you do like me. You spend 10 minutes or so playing fetch with your dog, or you go outside on the patio and you check your flowers to see if they need to be watered. Or, I'm very much into composting. And so maybe you add something to your compost pile, or, name it, like stretching, whatever that is, meditation, journaling, get into a new habit, disrupt the pattern of going and sitting down and eating your sweet treat after dinner. If losing some fat or inches around your waist or moving that number on the scale means that you're going to have to give up some of your sweet treats, you're going to have to disrupt the pattern. So, okay, that's my thought for today. What else do I have for you? The 5 golden rings, right? 5 gold rings. So the 5 golden rings often represent wealth and value. So it's discuss the value of personal and experiential wealth, encouraging you to recognize and appreciate what truly matters to you. So that is your reflection for today, what to reflect on, the 5 golden rings and the appreciate what truly matters to you. Experiential wealth. I love that. I love the idea of, visioning yourself, enjoying your life the way it really is intended to be. Like, what do you really intend it to be? What does that look like? Create that mind movie. If you are a daydreamer, if you love the idea of daydreaming or creating a mind movie, head on over to the Facebook group and, encourage everybody else in the group to get involved with the daydreaming. If you are enjoying this on YouTube and you like this content, please hit the like button. If you haven't already subscribed, this is a great time to do that as well. And that's all I got for you folks today. So have a great day, and I will see you again tomorrow. Amanda, I don't know if this ever happens to you, but I sometimes will learn something really cool on a podcast, on a YouTube video, audiobook, whatever. I think I'm going to remember it, and then I forget. Does that ever happen to you?
Yeah, I call it brain after 40 all the time.
Well, that's what we'll officially call it. But we've come up with something. Do you want to introduce it?
Sure. It's from an app called Jim Quick, and it's an acronym called FAST.
Yeah, and the F, it stands for Facebook. So we're inviting you officially right now to come over and join us on Facebook. Get involved with the community. Share your favorite episodes with your friends on Facebook.
Yeah, the A is go ahead and take an action. So you can't remember anything if you don't act.
And S is for subscribe. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel.
And then T is teach. Teach what you've learned to somebody else. Share the love.
All right, we hope that works for you. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.